Yo guys, welcome back to Videomas Day 15, and today's video is going to be a Beverly Hills Cop Trilogy / franchise ranking. So, if you haven't heard of that, Beverly Hills Cop is a movie franchise, and it also had a unaired TV pilot. It's a action comedy film series that was created by Daniel Petrie Jr. and Danilo Buck, which the films all star Eddie Murphy, who plays Axel Foley, who's a street-smart Detroit cop who then travels to Beverly Hills. That's why it's called Beverly Hills Cop. And then he investigates crimes and shit, and then he meets some detectives there who's Detective Billy Rosewood, who is played by Judge Reinhold, Sergeant John Taggart, who's played by John Ashton, and Lieutenant Andrew Bogomil, Ronnie Cox. So, yeah, I won't go about. And it's also got probably one of the most iconic theme songs, which I might play a second of about now. Yeah. Which is Axel F. Yeah. Which you know means the character. Sorry. Yeah. So let's do this in a second. Yes, so we back. Like I said before, this is going to be a Beverly Hills Cop Trilogy ranking, which there were movies from 1984 to present, or the last actual movie was in 1994. Yeah, so there was 10 years, so basically came every 3 to 5 years. Yeah, so this is going to be a quick ranking, hopefully. Yeah. So, in number 1, we've got the original from 1984, Beverly Hills Cop, which starred Eddie Murphy, Judge Reinhold, Gil Hill playing Inspector Douglas Todd, John Ashton as John Taggart, Ronnie Cox as Andrew Bogomil, Jeffrey Friedman, Jeanette Summers, Chief Hubbard, Serge Sarge. Yeah, so those are the characters, or the principal cast in Beverly Hills Cop. Now I will explain what Beverly Hills Cop was. Yeah, so after the murder of his childhood friend, the slick Detroit detective Axel Foley heads to the sunny Beverly Hills on a one-man mission to ferret out the killer and bring him to justice. Before long, Axel and his ferret out the killer and bring him to justice. Before long, Axel and his unorthodox methods unearth the lucrative drug operation of the powerful local crime kingpin, Victor Maitland, who he is played. So Victor Maitland does not have who he was played by, but Victor Maitland was played by Stephen Burkoff. Yes. So, and however, Foley too will find himself in some deep shit and trouble, as Lieutenant Andrew Bogomil, who is the lieutenant of the Beverly Hills Cop Division, wants him out and get out of town. So now that Axel has to team up with detectives John Taggart and Billy Rosewood to shed light on the thick conspiracy and finish what he actually started. Will Foley's total disregard for proper procedure bear fruit? So I will say I really enjoyed this movie. For me, I had only seen the first one out of the 3 before. Yeah. So this one is like, it combines because originally Eddie Murphy is a comedian, he is a comedian when you think about it, which makes sense. Yeah, so Eddie Murphy, like, fits the role perfectly, but interesting fact for you, Sylvester Stallone was actually meant to be, was originally considered for the part of Foley, which then Stallone gave the script a dramatic rewrite and turned it into a straight up action movie. So there was like not much comedy. Yeah. Billy Rosewood would have been killed off, but that changed. Yeah. So that's an interesting fact for you. Yeah, so this movie like worked well, the comedy was well, all three of the main actors truly gelled together. Mostly Eddie Murphy just had that cheeky, cocky kind of mannerisms, should I say. Yeah. So with that being said, that is why it is number one. Because because you would call it a buddy cop kind of movie, but it was fast, furious, before the Fast and Furious franchise, but then overall it was funny because Eddie Murphy never stopped. Yes. So, in number two, it is Beverly Hills Cop 3, which for everyone watching, this might be a surprising decision or a surprising second one for you, because this is the worst reviewed Beverly Hills Cop movie out of the three, which I don't know if it might be a controversial, but yeah, I enjoyed this, but that's what matters. It's like, I'll say, because this would have been, I think Eddie Murphy's would have had some bad movies here and there, but I think this brought him back to form, if that makes sense. Yeah. So the reason I say that is because, like, the movie was, I will explain it now. It was after a botched attempt to make a bust in a Detroit chop shop. The effectively unorthodox police officer Axel Foley once more finds himself in sunny Beverly Hills for the last time until Beverly Hills 4, if that happens, on Netflix. Yeah, so he's hot on the trail of an exclusive gang of cold-blooded killers. There, with the aid of old friends, Serge, who appeared in the first movie, but he's a lot more menacing or not as brutal, or I don't know. He gets more time in this movie. The recently promoted Billy Rosewood and his partner, John Flint. Because Axel sniffs out the criminal's hideout, which is nestled right under everyone's noses in Southern California's bustling theme park, Wonderworld. So now all that's left to do is to convince the people and the police that the park's impeccable chief of security, Ellis DeWald, is a ruthless villain, and that the immaculate amusement park is, in reality, a graceful and impenetrable facade for a sinister operation. How hard can it be? So yeah, like I said before, this movie was considered the weakest of all, because I believe the budget for this movie went down too. It went down from the second one, which isn't good, but it's not too bad. Oh no, budget went up by like 50 million, but was worse. Yeah. Which this movie I enjoyed just because this one had more wackiness or craziness in it. Just they spent the whole, like, I would say 75% of the movie was literally spent at Wonderworld, which was kind of stupid, but it's funny. There's also cameos by people like Joe Dante, George Lucas. Yeah. So yeah, it didn't do as well at the international box office or the US box office either. But personally, I enjoy this a bit more than the second one, just because it knows it's not taking itself seriously, hopefully, and it's wackier. Yes. So in at number 3, or in at last placing for the trilogy, it is Beverly Hills Cop 2. So this movie is set 3 years after the events of Beverly Hills Cop 1984. So it's in 1986, or 1987, which it came out then. So it stars Eddie Murphy again as the streetwise Detroit detective Axel Foley. He has to invade the posh city once again after the assassination attempt of his captain, Andrew Bogomil, against the backdrop of a seamlessly endless string of violent and well-orchestrated smash-and-grabs robbery known as the Alphabet Crimes. Because with detectives Billy Rosewood and John Taggart struggle to solve the crime, nonetheless in vain. Now, a lethally beautiful hitman who I believe was played by, what's her face? Bridget Nielsen, who was Red Sonja. Yeah. She's linked to an international arms trafficking ring, is the mystery and illicit crime suspect. Can the brazen and sassy Axel and his partners solve this thorny crime too? Yes, so I considered this one to be not as good as the first one, but I think with me, rankings don't fully work because I enjoy all of the movies, but yeah. So with Beverly Hills Cop 2 being in third, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I do enjoy the movie. I just don't think Beverly Hills Cop 2 felt more like the first one. So like it was just a rehash of everything. Yeah. But it's kind of hard when you think about it. Yeah. But the comedy was good in it. The action was good. I just think a sequel wasn't truly needed, but now, yeah. So like overall, it was enjoyable, but not as good as Beverly Hills Cop 1 or 3. Yes. So we'll be right back. So thanks for watching this Videomas video, guys. If you enjoyed this kind of content from me and this guy right here, you can click the little red subscribe button down below, but I'm not forcing you to, but you would miss the next 10 days of Videomas. Yes, I'm not forcing you to though. So I'll see you tomorrow for day 16, which might be some Spider-Man quizzes or a ranking possibly. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. See ya.